SNOWTRAX is sponsored by Polaris, Think Outside, Yamaha, Revs Your Heart, FXR Racing, celebrating 25 years of speed, and by iPone Lubricants, exclusively distributed by Parts Canada.
Halfway Haven isn't just a cool spot. It's really important to snowmobiling in Northern Ontario. This place has been around for years and years and years, decades, and it hasn't really changed much.
I couldn't believe that this building really existed way back in here.
Without it, that trail, all three trails would be closed to each one of them destinations.
Very rustic, as you could imagine, being in the middle of nowhere, but had a really, really homey feel.
They have fuel, have diesel if required. I think there's 11 rooms that are double occupancy, and then there's the 2 out cabins, so they can accommodate quite a few people. Nice little sitting area. Both have fireplace in the sitting area and in the dining area.
We've got a cheeseburger. It's our halfway burger. It's a cheeseburger with onions and mushrooms on top. Then we've got all the other fixings up there with homemade potato chips. We also have beef barley soup and our roasted garlic potato soup.
They've got a little cafeteria-looking area that they'll serve you food. We had some of the best beef barley soup I've ever had. Homemade burgers. The name is accurate. It's a haven for snowmobilers in the middle of flipping nowhere.
And they just treated you like family as soon as you walked in the door.
It's been a long morning. The burger is going down very smooth. We've got a lot more riding to do though. And then we can shut her down for the day.
You're gonna have to stiffen up that suspension there. It's a freaking contagious. Yeah.
Because of the distance between the 2 locations or 3 locations, we need fuel for our groomers and people need fuel for their sleds. Everybody uses it as a fuel stop and a lunch stop. And as you know yourself, the food is incredible.
The ride from Halfway Haven to Wawa is actually shorter, but the great part about it is that the trails are equally as good as the ride from Searchmont to Halfway Haven.
Riding out of Halfway Haven towards Wawa, everything was wide and perfectly groomed. Rolling hills, tons of scenic views, and then some twisty sections to keep you on your toes. It astonishes me that only a couple groomers groom that entire trail system. It's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of man hours every season. It's incredible the amount of hard work that those guys put in.
So you've got the same hydro line, got those same wide open trails with tons of like ups and downs, back and forth. And again, trails that are impeccably maintained. It's the right word. Impeccably is the right word for this. They are perfect the whole way from Halfway Haven until you get right into Wawa. So we had a ton of fun. Tanner and I did, ripping these trails. He was on the XC137 and I was on the 2021 MXZ Renegade XRS. And we, following John, who's also a really, really good rider, and even his wife was not holding us back one bit, that section of trail. We put on those miles in record time. And it didn't even feel like we tried that hard once we rolled into Wawa. When we finally rolled into Wawa, we had an awesome ride. We immediately headed over to the gas station to top the sleds back up. When you're in Wawa, you have to go check out the gigantic, massive goose statue. So we did that, showed Tanner. And then we headed over to the Wawa Motor Inn, which is, you know, sort of the snowmobiler destination in Wawa. We had a really nice cabin that we pulled up to that was all ours. And they also have a really great restaurant. So by the time you get into your cabin, you get cleaned up, get changed, you can head up to the restaurant, have a bite to eat, and then shut her down for the night.
SNOWTRAX is brought to you by the Regents of Quebec by the Sea. Discover our ride ideas.
You know, waking up at the Wawa Motor Inn and then stepping outside and having just your sleds parked out front, no truck, no trailer, you know, that's a little different experience. I'm used to getting up in the morning, getting in my truck, driving to the office, then getting on sleds. So it was kind of cool to know that, you know, the only way you got here was by snowmobile, and there was no reason not to do it that way. You don't need your truck for anything when you get to Northern Ontario. You can ride to every store, every gas station, every restaurant. Our trip from Wawa was going to take us to Dubreuilville, and Dubreuilville again is just another famous Northern Ontario snowmobile destination, but there was a couple ways we could go. When you first leave Wawa, the trails are a lot tighter than they were on the Hydro line. They're much more like sort of more Southern Ontario trails, tighter, still perfectly groomed as all the trails were, but they were really fun, tight and twisty. But there was, at one point, there was an option that we had. We could go two ways. We could either go further on the trail, or we could cut off and go on to what's called the Magpie Reservoir.
It's a hydroelectric reservoir. It's 17 miles. It makes the ride a lot shorter, but you're riding the ice for 17 miles. So it's what people like and what people don't like. And some people are nervous riding the ice, like somebody that was riding at our sweep here.
So we decided to ride a bunch of twisty trail and then take the Magpie Reservoir and cover a lot of ground, because we'd put on so many miles the day before that it was nice to kind of relax on the lake at 100 miles an hour.
Once you get on the reservoir, you know, when in Rome, hold her pinned, you can just go for it. So made up crazy time, super fast, and pulled into Dubreuilville. Dubreuilville's a pretty small place. It's a typical Northern Ontario town, but what it does have is all the amenities that you could possibly need as a snowmobiler if this is going to be the end of your trip, or if you're going to continue from Dubreuilville and go the long haul on to Hearst. If you want to do that, then you know you're set up from Dubreuilville.
SNOWTRAX is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
Before you could speak, before you could weep, I held your hand in mine like a shell on a beach, waiting for.
We ended our trip at the Magpie Relay in Dubreuilville, which is the local snowmobile motel. And I don't know if they call it a relay. It's something to do with the French language. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a cool spot. They even have like a man cave in the basement for snowmobilers with couches and big screen TVs and pool tables. It's a really neat spot, and they really cater to snowmobiles.
Riding with this group, I've been all teeth. Like, it's been incredible. Even the filming, you know, it took some time to do the filming and get the hang of doing the shooting and stuff, but it was all good. We had fun. It's been a long-term thing for me to ride with you guys, and I watch your show religiously. So Dubreuilville has a local celebrity on YouTube. It's Luke the Groomer Guy. He actually owns the Quickie Mart in Dubreuilville.
He's kind of a local celebrity. He was very active on forums and making YouTube videos and stuff. A lot of people know who Luke the Groomer Guy is. He lives right in town and he owns a store, the Quickie Mart. So we thought, you know what, we got to go to the Quickie Mart and we got to talk to Luke the Groomer Guy.
He's kind of a local celebrity in the Dubreuilville area, and I wanted to go and thank him for doing such a great job on the trails and kind of shake the hand of a local celebrity.
Lunch of champions.
Oh, the groomer at my house? What, did you go by my house?
He's a good guy, and I really, Tanner and I both just wanted to say thanks for the hard work that he and the rest of his grooming crew puts in to making the trails as good as they were for people like us to ride. So it was a nice opportunity. We also managed to stock up on a super healthy lunch of licorice and cupcakes, but you know, that's snowmobile life, right? Well, we rode some of the best trails I've ever ridden today. They were,
yeah, I just groomed that yesterday.
You could have rolled a quarter down the whole thing. It was amazing. So there's some bumps out there now. We left you something to do.
Oh, that's good. I need some work. I do about every 2 weeks, about 60, 70 hours.
Really? Every 2 weeks? Wow.
Yeah. And I'm working here at our store and other stuff, volunteer fireman, town council and all that. So.
Honestly, Luke is a great guy. He's so dedicated to grooming. He parks the groomer at his house so he can just jump up in the morning and groom.
So he took care of you there, Johnny?
Oh, yeah, he took good care of us. Showed us all the best trails.
Everything was good.
Overall, this trip with Luke has been fantastic. I haven't had more fun on a snowmobile in my entire life. I've never put on as many kilometers in a whole trip as I've ever done this past week. The conditions up north are fantastic, and anybody wanting to ride late into the season and extend their riding season, they have to head up north. It's a no-brainer as far as I'm concerned. We were maybe 10 hours north of Toronto, so it's really not that far. You can drive up there in a day.
Look at all the fun we'd had, all the jokes we made, the laughs, getting to know John and his wife, riding some of the best trails I've ridden all year. Tanner's one of my best friends, and we have tons of fun together. We rode two of the best snowmobiles in the industry, and really putting a cap on the end of my season, you know, like let's say putting a crown on the end of my season. I mean, this was the best ride. It couldn't really have got any better.
Tighten your chin straps and pay close attention, because I'm about to expound a ton of information surrounding Polaris' all-new MATRYX platform. In fact, this test ride is so chock full of new stuff from Polaris, we're going to present it in two bite-sized pieces. First, we need to talk about engines, and then we'll discuss what MATRYX is all about. One thing is for certain, if there was ever any doubt how serious Polaris is about doing battle with #1 market shareholder Ski-Doo, this test ride should end those doubts once and for all. So here we go with a little history lesson. Remember back in model year 2016 when the biggest gun in the cabinet was an 800 from Ski-Doo, Polaris, or Arctic Cat? In the same way Ski-Doo aced the market in 2017 by changing the rules and taking the 800 class up to 850 cc's, Polaris in model year 2021 has done exactly the same thing to the 600 class. The new Indy MATRYX platform in all its variants is available with an all-new Patriot-based 650cc SDI engine. The engine is not a bored-out 600 Liberty. In reality, it gets all of its DNA from the 850 Patriot. That includes the 850's unique engine mounting system, which virtually eliminates vibration at any RPM level and eliminates the need for an engine torque stop. Okay, I know what your first question is going to be. Is the new 650 Patriot faster and more powerful than the current Liberty Cleanfire 600? Yes, and yes. In fact, Polaris claims the new 650 Patriot makes 10% more horsepower and 14% more torque than the current 600. That, my friends, means this new 650 produces very close to 140 horsepower, not a small number. More important than numbers is the way this new 650 lays down its power on white top. We're comfortable saying it this way. The 600 class has been one-upped by the Polaris Patriot 650. The engine propels the new Matrix chassis at levels no 600cc competitor can match. Does it seem interesting to you that the new 650 Patriot arrives just 1 year after the introduction of the 600R road tax? It more or less screams get even, doesn't it? In response to Skidoo's introduction of the 850 road tax just a couple of years after Polaris introed the Liberty 800. The most noticeable aspects of the new 650 are its overall smoothness and its formidable mid-range torque. There is an imposing surge of thrust at 7,000 RPM, propelling the Matrix to heroic velocities in a blink. It is our impression at this time, without any scientific measurements, the new Patriot 650 appears exceptionally fuel efficient. As it sits right now, the current Patriot 850 will get slightly better fuel mileage than the current Liberty 600 when ridden at trail speeds. Time for Chapter 2 of the Matrix introduction. For model year 2021, the new platform comes with either 650 Patriot or 850 Patriot power. The new Indy VR1 is available in either 129 or 137-inch variants. Let's make this clear out of the gate. The new Indy Matrix chassis takes Polaris to a new and higher level of fit, finish, and assembly quality. The Matrix exudes build quality refinement throughout the entire vehicle, including the way it runs, rides, and handles. The Matrix brings with it completely rejiggered ergonomics, including a 5-inch narrower rider's perch. The seat is also 1 inch lower. The net effect of these changes is a vastly more comfortable and motorcycle-ish cockpit for the rider. The overall frontal area of the Matrix VR1 is dramatically smaller, but wind protection is actually improved over the Axis. The platform still offers industry-leading engine access with intuitive fitting body panels, which when removed, offer unparalleled service access. The VR1 Indy Matrix uses carbon fiber for the overstructure versus aluminum. Finally, someone got the message. Polaris has engineered a 2-gallon storage trunk behind the windshield. This functional heated compartment is joined by an under-seat trunk as well. Here's more that's new. Polaris has tooled handsome forged spindles and footrest toe holds. The rider's perch is aerodynamically warmer than the Axis, and an all-new dual projector beam headlight one-ups the Axis best-in-biz lighting. Obviously, the new VR1 gets Polaris game-changing Pro CC rear skid with Walker Velocity shocks all the way around. The 5-piece tunnel now sports smooth, not finned, heat exchangers. Are you feeling a little overwhelmed? Check out Polaris's new hand and thumb warmer technology. You can lock in the settings you want in degrees, and they'll stay pre-programmed as long as you choose. Here's one better. This new technology will keep both your grips and thumb warmer precisely at your selected settings, from startup to crosswinds to high-speed runs on the lake. The system actually pushes more power to each grip, as needed, individually when warming up or underway. The new switchgear on the left cluster is backlit and incredibly intuitive. And this new switchgear works in perfect concert with an all-new 7-inch touchscreen display with GPS and Bluetooth technology. This new gauge package is the bomb. Polaris has done their homework on the new 7S gauge screen, including an app called Group Ride, which allows you to see where everyone on your ride is, all the time, even if they aren't on a Polaris. The touchscreen is augmented by display controls as well as the ability to operate it from the left-hand switch cluster. Here's what's important. Polaris has not only preserved, but they have improved their industry-leading handling with the new VR1 Indy. There's lots more to learn about this innovative new platform, so stay tuned.
But the trouble with truth is it just don't get old.
SNOWTRAX has been sponsored by MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap, and by Arctic Cat Snowmobiles.
If you like what you've just seen, click the subscribe button and comment below. And make sure you check out all of our great videos on SNOWTRAX TV's YouTube channel.